is that they're not living in the shit. And that's what I tell my kids. That's what I've told my players. That's what I've told my employees. I've been saying it for years. It's an Urgo original. You have to live in the shit. And what I mean by that is you have to live in the reality of the situation, where you are. Hello, and welcome to Enter the Nebula, episode 41. My name's Mike Urgo, and let's rip the band-aid off. If you're if you're offended by the word shit, this episode's not for you. It's time to change the channel. Now that we've got that out of the way, what we're going to talk about today is living in the shit. And I'm not talking about literal shit. I'm talking about figurative shit, obviously. And I'm talking about change. And I'm not talking about change management like we've talked about in previous episodes. I'm talking about personal change, whether that's in your professional life or your personal life, how to actually change. And I think for everyone, depending on the change, sometimes it comes easy, sometimes it's more difficult. And more often than not, we love to make easy changes because it's cool to see, right? It's like mowing the lawn. It's an instant, immediate gratification of seeing a bad, overgrown lawn to a nice, clean lawn. It takes about an hour and a half for me, and it looks really good. But something that's more difficult, like uh, growing into an executive role or changing the way you talk or I don't know, losing weight. All these things, depending on your temperament, can be very difficult. And I think that the people who can't overcome and can't get to the change fall into three different buckets. And all three buckets have something in common that we'll get to. But the three buckets for me that I've witnessed in my experience of 15 years of coaching athletes and leading people in corporate America and having a soon to be 13-year-old daughter and an 11-year-old daughter are pretty standard. And I'd love to debate people if you think otherwise, but the people who struggle with change, these three buckets that they fall into, are pretty standard. The first bucket is the faker. It's the person who says they want to change, but actually doesn't. And some people are better at that than others. The people who are really good at it, man, that's frustrating. And I've had a few of those people. I've had some people that it's almost like getting catfished, where you think, man, they're really turning over a new leaf. They're really putting in some effort, but really all they're doing is paying you lip service and putting on a show as long as they can to get by. And when the rubber meets the road, you could see that the change really hasn't stuck. And the second bucket is the try hard, the one that, like the faker, jumps in, but they jump in a million miles an hour and with good intentions. It's like me when I thought to myself that I was going to be going to the gym at 5 a.m. every day and make a massive life change. This was years ago. And I was at Gold's Gym at 5 a.m. This is like 2012, for probably 3 or 4 months. And then I woke up one day and was like, I hate this. I don't like doing this. This is a lot of work that I just have no interest in doing. So the try hard is a tough bucket to be in, uh, but ultimately the change won't stick. And then the last one, and probably the most frustrating one for me to manage and handle, either as a coach or as a manager, is the victim. And I'm dealing with this right now with my kids. That's why uh, it came top of mind for me. Um, and it's the person where they say they want to change, but the reason they can't has everything to do with everything and anything but them. And they can't change because of their boss or because of the weather or because of the way the wind's blowing. It doesn't matter what it is. They're the victim. And no matter what they do, the change isn't going to happen. And the thing that all three buckets have in common is that they're not living in the shit. And that's what I tell my kids. That's what I've told my players. That's what I've told my employees. I've been saying it for years. It's an Urgo original. You have to live in the shit. And what I mean by that is you have to live in the reality of the situation, where you are, how you got there, the ownership of the situation. That's the shit. Because ultimately, more often than not, you've made some decisions and created a situation in some sense to get you where you are. And without acknowledging that, embracing it, and living in it, it's going to be extremely hard to evoke any kind of change. Again, whether it's personal or professional, living in the shit and being there and not changing the narrative in your head is going to evoke change. It's going to continue to remind you of why you wanted to change in the first place. But if you get up in 5 in the morning and you go to the gym one time and you convince yourself in your head that that has satisfied the change, you're not going to see the results that you're looking for, whether if it's getting stronger, if it's losing weight, whatever it is. That metaphor I feel like is overplayed, but it's a good one. Um, you have to live in it. You have to accept where you are. And I think that's the hardest thing to do. The hardest thing to do is accept the reality of the situation and embrace it so that you can drive change. And then the second hardest thing and the thing you have to do afterwards is remind yourself. Remind yourself of where you were and where you want to go and the reality, the real reality of it every day. And while you're doing it, as you change, you're going to see tangible wins that you can celebrate. Real wins, reality wins, not made up fake feel good wins, right? Like in sports, if you lose a game, you lost. That's it. That's the reality. If you get in the locker room and you say, "Well, we tried our hardest and, you know, I had a good shift or, you had a good hit," or whatever it is, you're not going to go into practice the next week addressing the things that need to be addressed to win the next game. You're going to tell yourself that you did everything you could and you're going to do everything you can next week. And more often than not, that means you're going to lose. And it sucks. It's not a fun reality until you embrace it, until you attack it. And then you're going to invoke the change you want. And then you're going to start to see the changes that you want to see and the wins that you want to have. If you're interested in learning more or you want a personal coach that can help you work through some of these things, I am still actively accepting clients. So feel free to reach out on my website, intellectualnebula.com. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Please continue to follow, like, subscribe on all the social media platforms. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you next time.